Some films frighten you with what you see. Psycho frightens you with what you slowly realize about the people on screen. This is not a story about a motel, a house on a hill, or a single shocking moment. It is a story about ordinary people, Marion Crane, Norman Bates, and those drawn into their orbit, each trapped by quiet decisions, unspoken guilt, and voices they cannot escape. In Psycho, danger doesn't arrive suddenly. It reveals itself through habits, repeated behaviors, and small choices made when no one seems to be watching. In this video, we'll explore 16 lesser-known truths hidden beneath the surface of the film. Truths that turn fear into something far more unsettling: recognition. If you enjoy thoughtful, carefully told stories about classic cinema and the psychology behind it, please like this video and subscribe to the channel. Your support helps keep these long-form explorations alive. Now, let's begin with Part 1. Marion Crane's reflection. One lesser-noticed truth. Marion Crane is not only running from the money, she is running from her own reflection. Each time she stands before a mirror, Marion seems to ask whether she is still yesterday's Marion or someone entirely new. The film plants this feeling through small, quiet moments. Her drifting gaze, her breath caught in her chest, the silence that lingers just a second too long. The recurring callback is Marion constantly checking, hiding, then checking again the envelope, the handbag, the door locks, the glance over her shoulder. The anxiety never explodes. It ticks steadily, like a clock. In Marion's inner world, guilt is not tied to a single act, but to the way she begins living defensively, and that very habit draws her toward a place she believes is only a brief overnight stop. Part 2. The $40,000 envelope and the voices within. The second truth. The $40,000 in Psycho is not merely a plot device, it is a psychological object. Marion does not see the money as a prize, she sees it as a doorway. And every doorway has hinges that creak. The imagined voices in Marion's head, conversations she rehearses for people who are not there, become the verdict she passes on herself. The recurring callback is Marion replaying dialogues, shifting voices in her mind. Her employer, the car dealer, the man she loves, Sam Loomis. With each imagined exchange, her grip on the steering wheel tightens, as if speed alone could outrun judgment. But the film quietly insists. The faster she drives, the louder the voices become, and Marion begins to believe the world can already see through the envelope. Part 3. Driving scenes. The fear of being seen. A striking truth. Psycho turns ordinary things, traffic lights, highway patrol, car lots, into a system of surveillance. The police officer, with his dark glasses and chilling silence, barely speaks, yet makes Marion feel exposed to her core. The recurring callback is the gaze. Marion checks the rearview mirror. The officer stares at Marion. The car salesman watches her, and Marion looks down again at the envelope, as if confirming evidence. Her inner world tightens with every heartbeat, each one sounding like footsteps closing in. The truth here is that Marion's deepest fear is not arrest, it is recognition. The fear of being identified as someone poorly pretending to be ordinary, one mistake away from tearing the mask apart. Part 4. Bates Motel, a place that is never temporary. The fourth truth. Bates Motel is framed as a temporary stop, yet it carries the weight of fate because nothing there ever seems to change. Norman Bates appears not through overt menace, but through excessive politeness, like someone terrified of displeasing others. The subtle callback is his smile, which appears quickly and then retreats, as if borrowed. Inside Norman, two forces pull against each other: the desire to be seen as kind and the fear that any closeness will awaken something. The motel becomes a space where silence has mass, and even casual questions feel like fingers pressing against a painted-over crack. Part 5. The house on the hill and silent judgment. One crucial truth: the Bates house is not just a backdrop, it is a gaze from above. Wherever one stands in the motel, the house seems to watch. The recurring callback is height. Norman looks upward, Marion glances toward it, and the audience senses an unseen authority deciding right and wrong. Norman's inner struggle wavers between inviting Marion to dinner like a normal man and fearing the reaction of his mother, Mrs. Bates. The truth is that this fear does not require her physical presence. The house alone reminds Norman that he has never truly lived a life of his own. Part 6. The Stuffed Birds, a map of Norman's mind. The sixth truth. The stuffed birds in Norman's room are not eccentric decor. They function like a diary written in feathers. Frozen mid-flight, they suggest motion forever denied. The recurring callback is containment. Norman preserves the motel, preserves his mother, preserves order, and preserves calm. While speaking with Marion, his inner world vibrates between gentleness and strain. He hears his own words as if spoken by someone else. He wants understanding, yet fears exposure. The truth lies in the paradox. Norman surrounds himself with lifeless things because they are safe. Living people, like Marion, are dangerous because they can leave, resist, and force him to confront the cage he inhabits. Part 7. Dinner and the Word Trap. A commonly overlooked truth. The dinner conversation between Marion Crane and Norman Bates is a meeting of two different kinds of imprisonment. Marion is trapped by a recent mistake. Norman is trapped in the role of the dutiful son. The clear callback is the word trap itself being caught by circumstances, by identity, by self. Marion listens to Norman speak of his mother with a mixture of fear and compassion. Norman speaks as if apologizing for his own life, then retreats behind uneasy humor. The truth is that, in this moment, Marion glimpses another exit, not escape, but return and repair. Her inner decision begins to shift, just before the film tears that possibility away. Part 8. Marion's turn toward redemption. The eighth truth. Psycho deliberately convinces the audience that Marion is about to be saved by her own awakening. She sits down, recalculates, and a lightness enters her eyes, as if she has finally chosen honesty. The recurring callback is numbers and paper. Marion counts again, writes again, trying to convert wrongdoing into something solvable. Her inner state shifts from panic to resolve. Return the money, go back, begin again with Sam Loomis through truth. The cruel truth is that the film places hope just before darkness descends. Because Marion intends to do right, what follows lingers longer, shattering the belief that redemption always arrives in time. Part 9. Norman Bates and the Ritual of Concealment. One pivotal truth. Norman Bates's cleanup is staged as a ritual rather than a reaction. His movements are fast, precise, methodical, like actions rehearsed countless times in the mind. The recurring callback is erasure. Norman surveys, gathers, washes, locks, and surveys again, as if restoring a stage after a performance. His inner state does not explode, it goes cold, as though emotion has been switched off for survival. The disturbing truth lies in how concealment becomes routine. When hiding turns habitual, conscience does not vanish, it simply sinks deeper, replaced by a chilling sense of control. Part 10. Mrs. Bates, Presence Through Voice. A subtle truth. Mrs. Bates exerts power even when unseen. She exists through voice, through judgment, through sharp accusations. The recurring callback names the relationship clearly. Norman invokes mother with reverence and resistance. Mrs. Bates answers with condemnation that causes him to shrink. Norman's inner world resembles a locked room from the inside. He fears not only his mother, but the part of himself that has learned to speak in her voice. The truth is that Mrs. Bates's authority is not physical. It resides in her occupation of Norman's mind, turning independence into sin and kindness into suspicion. Part 11. Sam Loomis. Love tested by absence. The 11th truth. Sam Loomis is not an ideal hero. He is an ordinary man pulled into a story with missing pieces. He loves Marion, but when she disappears, he faces not only loss, but informational void, one that makes him doubt himself. The recurring callback is the question, where did Marion go? Asked of others, then turned inward. Sam's inner struggle oscillates between hope and self-blame. Did he drive her to desperation? The truth is that Sam's love is weighed against guilt and secrecy. Every clue feels like a delayed message, each search step leading into darkness he never wished to understand. Part 12. Lila Crane, Sisterly Instinct and Clarity. An Essential Truth. Lila Crane is among the film's clearest thinkers, and her clarity comes from a precise pain. Marion is her sister, not an abstract disappearance. Lila's callback is direct questioning, steady eye contact, no softening of words. Her inner world burns hot and sharp. She cannot collapse, because if she does, no one will bring Marion back. The truth is that Lila receives no romantic framing or spotlight. Instead, she is given resolve. That resolve allows her to perceive what others miss at Bates' Motel. The strangeness lies not in objects, but in how Norman Bates insists everything is fine. Part 13. Arbogast, Confidence and Blind Spots. The 13th Truth. Detective Milton Arbogast carries the confidence of a man who has seen many crimes. He enters Bates' Motel with professional certainty, but the film reveals that experience can create blind spots. His callback is premature conclusion. He questions Norman while already pressing him with assumed answers. Arbogast's inner logic prioritizes order over intuition. He assembles facts, studies the register, observes reactions, and steps forward. The truth is that his sense of control draws him deeper than safety allows. He does not realize that this danger does not follow familiar criminal patterns, but the fractured logic of a mind shaped by obsession named Mrs. Bates. Part 14. Locked Doors, The Language of Control. The 14th Truth. In Psycho, doors speak. Room doors, house doors, hidden doors, each opening or closing signals a moral and psychological choice. The clear callback names each person. Marion Crane locks doors to avoid scrutiny. Norman Bates locks doors to preserve secrets. Lila Crane opens doors in pursuit of truth. Sam Loomis pounds on doors out of desperation. Each hand on a doorknob reveals hesitation, fear, or resolve. The truth lies in the question the film quietly asks: who has the right to enter another's life? Who has the right to keep another locked away? When a door remains closed too long, it imprisons not only secrets, but the possibility of living normally. Part 15. The Basement and the Cold Truth. A central truth. Psycho builds tension by descending literally and symbolically into its deepest layer, where truth sheds all politeness. Lila Crane enters with her heart compressed between fear and anger. Her callback is silence before action. She pauses, listens, observes, then moves. Her inner conflict runs between two urges, knowing immediately and not knowing at all. When truth emerges, the film shifts from mystery to tragedy. What is revealed is not a criminal scheme, but the result of a lifelong suffocated. The film does not invite excitement at this revelation, but dread because its coldness suggests it has been forming for years. Part 16. Norman Bates, The Final Smile and the Endless Loop. The 16th and most haunting truth. Psycho concludes with the sense of a loop, as if nothing truly ends, only changes form. The callback names all involved. Norman Bates remains occupied by Mrs. Bates. Mrs. Bates continues her judgment. Sam Loomis and Lila Crane must live with the absence Marion Crane leaves behind. And Marion herself persists as the memory of a choice almost redeemed. Norman's inner state at the end is no longer chaotic, it is frozen, sealed behind a fixed smile. The brutal truth is this: the most terrifying thing is not the moment of eruption, but the way a person can grow accustomed to their own darkness, give it a familiar name, mother, and surrender the right to govern their own life.